What, why, where, and many such words. Has these question words ever bothered you too much and risked your mental state of peace? If so, all you have to do is read the poem by E.E Cummings because the title itself offers the answer. Let's live suddenly without thinking. Let's see what the poet says to us. He urges to live every moment without much thinking, appreciate what we have and make the best out of every occasion. Look at how our ancestors led a stress free life because their needs were less. We have to live truly by doing right and being right so everything evil won't have a chance. Realize that death is imminent and there is no escape from it. So live. And lastly, violence drains people and make them do things that would appear big but remain hollow. Now, let's look into the form and style of the poem. The unusual syntax makes the poem seemingly difficult to comprehend, but that's just the beauty of simple truth. The work is essentially modern in style but romantic in theme. To remember that Cummings began to write avant-garde poems in which conventional punctuation and syntax were ignored in favor of a dynamic usage of language. We can find in his work visual imagery, personification, which means attributing lifelike qualities to inanimate objects, similes and metaphors, alliterations, that is, repetition of sounds, enjambment, which means continuation of a sentence without a pause beyond the end of a line or even a stanza. The use of punctuations in the poem is so less. We only find a few commas, periods, and a colon. Sometimes emphasis is achieved by intending the sentence alone. There is no rhyme scheme or meter in this poem. In other words, the poem is composed in blank verse. We will just quickly go through the poem line by line now. Let's live suddenly without thinking. Under honest trees a stream does. The brain of cleverly crinkling water pursues the angry dream of the shore. By midnight a moon scratches the skin of the organized hills, and edged nothing begins to prune. Let's live like the light that kills, and let's as silence, because worlds after all, after me, love, and after you. I occasionally feel vague. How vague I don't know. Tenuous now spears, and then arrows making do our mouths something red, something tall. The mood of the poem is reflective, lively, and passionate. He simply starts by saying, "Let's live suddenly without thinking." Plainly stated, this is the content of the poem. The poet goes on to explain how we could live in the rest of his lines. First, he remembers our ancestors who had a stress free life because their needs were less, and he urges us to follow their path. Then he says we can live under honest trees. He uses an abstract quality as an adjective for the tree. What could that mean? It simply means this. Just look at everything in nature. They keep doing their job no matter what. Follow their suit. And when you're doing what you're supposed to do, your brain thinks straight, it shall be clear. A clear brain is like that of water, which has the potential to purge things, to quench thirst. Ah, yes, the angry dreams too. And then let just be the midnight moonlight, which shows the path and spreads warmth to the organized hills which were once abode to humankind. Till here, Cummings includes images to impart sense to the reader. He uses images of stillness, that is, the images of trees, hills, and midnight, to denote how rightful thinking can keep us on the move, while the images of movement, that is, of the spears and arrows, show thoughts that weigh us down. The words highlighted in green relates to nature and to the simplest sides of life which gives us the best of feelings, while words in brown mentions the worst realities. Hereafter the poem gets more philosophical. He tells us to live like the light that kills, that is, to be the force that eradicates evil, and again reminds us how, and that is to be as silence. There is a finality in the next line. It is one of the wisest reminders of all times. He says, because worlds after all. Yes, let's not overcomplicate life, because the imminent death is after you, your loved ones, everyone. So don't postpone. Show your love, kindness, and compassion now. There's a quick shift in the tone here. From so much optimism, there is gloom, because the poet admits he feels vague and cannot describe its depth. He further uses images of the spears and the then arrows and says, they make do our mouth something red, something tall, and ends his poem there. The abrupt ending or the open ending leaves room to so much interpretation, but taking into consideration what the poet says at the start, I simply like to believe that he is telling us the consequences of our complex actions will be so severe and brutal because we refuse to perform the simple deeds out of love. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Remember, let's just live suddenly without thinking. For more videos, please subscribe to my channel and give me your honest comments. See you soon.